Wang and this.
Oh, see. I was also not there. Huh?
That's right.
Ma'am, I was there on 18th. Why did you? Ma'am?
I feel this.
Ma'am, I was there in 18th November.
Yeah, but then these two, people were not coming now.
On 18th. 18th को आज भी नहीं है लग रहा है वो
नहीं आए तो we'll carry on, it's okay.
Bond of love.
How was the holidays? You went out, no?
Fine. I have gone to Tamil Nadu.
So how was it?
Nice.
Nice? Enjoyed?
Everyone there? Where are you going?
I went for a few days. I went out
Where?
to my mother's house. Alright, shall we start? The bond of love. What do you mean by bond? Bond of love. What do you mean by the title bond of love? You did it in school? Achha. But what do you... Okay. But tell me, what do you understand by bond of love? Who loves? Just close. Show. Show me. Because your book doesn't have certain chapters. See. This chapter also you don't have.
Bond of love. पुराना वाला है क्या हुआ
The one chapter which I taught you before that, which was not there. What was the chapter?
This.
Which is not there in your book.
These for a cup you have taught. Packing.
It was not there, na?
No, packing.
Bond of love is there.
Yeah. In this book.
Packing also was there. In your syllabus, what has come from there? Then that book doesn't have it. Okay. What do you understand by bond of love? What do you understand? Like, what do you What does it mean?
We should love others.
What is a bond?
Love.
Bond.
Heart. And
join by love. Okay, so what do you understand by the title?
Join by love.
Join by love. Okay. Alright. The bond of love.
Narendra found a beer cup by chance when he and his friends were passing through fields of sugarcane near Mysore. People were driving away the wild pigs from the fields.
Yeah, so this is Mysore. This is a Mysore palace. And when he was basically, like, he and his friends were passing through the fields of sugarcane in Mysore, they found this bear cub. Okay, a sloth bear. Can you see that bear in that person's hand? That bear. And they were what they were doing there in this one in the field. They were driving away these wild pigs, the wild pigs with like wild boar, what you call now. They were driving away the wild boar. Yeah.
Then they spotted sloth bear. His friend saw towards the bear and it died. After the sloth bear died, the cub ran around her dead body, making a sad noise. The narrator caught the bear and gifted it to his wife. The narrator's wife felt so happy, she named it Bruno. He ate porridge, vegetables, fruits, nuts, meat, rice, drank tea, milk, eggs, and beer and coffee.
All the things. This baby bear, he found why. What did the friends do?
Friends,
Narrator's friend. No, narrator's friend. They shot the mother bear. Okay, so baby bear was orphan, right? You know what is orphan, right? When they don't have mothers and fathers, you're orphan, no? So they didn't have any this one. So the mother narrator brought the bear from Mysore to his house and he gave it to his wife. And his wife took care. She fell in love. That's why the bond of love is her love for the bear. Understood? So, and these are the things he ate. Like he ate like normal human beings, what you eat, like that.
But incidents with Bruno.
So she named the bear Bruno. Okay.
Once the narrator put a rat poison in the library and Bruno ate it. He suffered a stroke of paralysis. He dragged himself to the narrator's wife. He took him to veterinary doctor and he recovered after some time.
Yeah, so he's very inquisitive bear, he's very curious bear. So one day when it was like, rat poison was kept in the library, you put like rat poison in order to kill the rats, no? So one day they did it and he was allowed to go anywhere and he's a small baby. You know how a small baby is. It will eat anything, put anything in the mouth, put fingers, even human babies do that, na? Put fingers in the socket and all that, no? So that it ate. And they had to rush him to the veterinary doctor. Veterinary doctor. No, he didn't die. He's not. He's veterinary. When they operate you, they give you anesthesis, na?
Veterinary doctor.
But this is for animal doctors are known as veterinary doctors, na? Vets. Correct? So they took him but he recovered. It's written there, he's recovered.
Another time, Bruno drank 1 gallon of old engine oil, but it had no ill effect on
him. So you see, this is the gallon. This was a cup.
Gallon.
When he filled petrol in it, so he drank engine oil. He drank 1 whole drum of engine oil. But that didn't have any effect on him. Means he didn't have any kind of side effect.
As Bruno grew, he learned some tricks and at the narrator's wife command, he could perform them. He could hold a stick like a gun. When she sent Bristol or box, he did the same. She changed his name to Baba when he grew up. Baba had to be changed as there were children in the house.
So, like they were Baba? She named the bear Baba. So, Bruno also the name of a dog, isn't it? So, like she was so attached to it that she was able to train that, if you see, bears are supposed to be wild. They're not supposed to be domesticated animals, correct? They're supposed to be wild. But when she brought him up as a baby, she grew attached to him and he grew attached to her. And she taught him to do many tricks and he used to listen to her. But see, as a baby, the bear may be this small, but when it grows up, it becomes huge. You've seen a bear in the zoo, right? You've seen a normal bear, right? Very big bear. So he's huge. So and children are there in the house, so they can't leave him around in the house.
And Baba grew in size and equal like two dogs in height. So Narendra and his friends advised Narendra's wife to send him to zoo in Mysore because it had a bigger and open space. It was not everyone literacy agreed.
Yeah, so
she was not everyone.
So, when you bring up a child, even a dog, if you love a dog, you don't want to give the dog away, right? You want to take care of the dog and you have to love the dog. So, she didn't want to get separated from the bear, but he was very big. And you can't keep him in a normal house. You require wide spaces. Okay, you require wide spaces for it. So, they decided to send her to Mysore Zoo, but initially she was not ready. She was very reluctant to send, but then she knew that he requires that big space. That's why he decided to send him there.
In Mysore.
To Mysore Zoo.
Effect of separation on Narendra's wife and Baba. Narendra's wife was in grief for weeks after Baba left. She wrote letter to the curator of the zoo to know about Baba. The curator replied that he was eating and not eating. He decided to meet him after 3 months.
Yeah, so basically both. You see, here also, when they sent the bear away, she was in terrible sadness and grief. Okay, and the bear also was grieving in his own way. He did not eat. He was always looking for her. Freddy is looking, searching. He's worried. So he's searching for her, and both couldn't be without each other. That's why the love was so much between those two that when you take these two, when they were far from each other, they couldn't survive. Okay. Means basically they didn't die, but they were becoming very sad day by day, day by day. Understood?
And the narrator took his wife to zoo. Some of her friends told her that Baba would not recognize her, but when she went to the zoo, Baba recognized her. They sat together for 3 hours. She gave him food. She urged the curator to send Baba with her, but he was helpless and suggested her to ask the superintendent for help.
Yeah, so basically, even though they separated, they said the animal will not recognize you. Sometimes it happens when the person who trained the animal is very far. Maybe they're not. So the friend is saying maybe Baba will not recognize you. But still, as soon as she came to the zoo, he recognized her and they both hugged each other. They sat with each other for 3 hours. And she gave him food, and then she asked, because Baba was not eating, right? So she gave him food and he ate the food because she was there. Alright. And he asked the curator. Curator is the person who takes care of the zoo animals, right? He asked him, send my bear back with me. But he was helpless. Once you give it to the zoo, the government doesn't allow wild animals in their houses, right? So she said, why don't you ask the superintendent? Superintendent is higher than authority, the higher authority.
Baba returned so happily. The superintendent allowed her to take Baba, and he was hoisted on the top of the Nartha's car. At home, a 20 feet long and 15 feet wide island was made for him.
Yeah, so they had to, because they couldn't keep him in the house, right? They had to make an enclosure for him. You know what is enclosure, right? If you go to the zoo, the animals are kept in an enclosure. So they had to make a specific enclosure because they couldn't. When he was baby, he could roam in the house, But when he was like he's grown up to his full size, you can't keep a bear in a house, right?
Okay. I agree. A wooden box was kept for Baba and he was happy to be at home again. That is why when Baba spent hours sitting there. Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's read. So it is the theme is love transcends the barrier of barrier between species and humans and animals and anything. Okay.
Right. I will begin with Bruno. Can there be love and friendship between human beings and wild animals? Let's read a fascinating account of an orphan slaughter that was rescued by the author.
What does rescue means?
Huh?
What does rescue means?
What's on help? Slot bears inhabit forested areas, including the tropical rainforest of India and grasslands and lower elevations. Slot bears have very shaggy hair and long muscles. Using their claws to dig, they can then use the leaves to form a tube, which can go deep into the ground or into hard to reach areas like dead trees for their food. Their main food is termites. You can hear them suck up their food from several feet away.
So that is the main food. But when they brought up the bear from in the house, they gave it all types of food. Okay.
I will begin with Bruno. My wife's pet's not here. I got him for her by accident.
Yeah. So he knew that the narrator's wife was very empathetic towards animals. Empathetic means she loved animals and she had affection for animals. So he by accident in the sense, remember his friends killed the bear. So he couldn't leave the baby bear in the forest, so that's why he brought it to her so that she could take care of it. Alright?
2 years ago, we were passing through the sugarcane fields near Mysore. People were driving away the wild pigs from the field by shooting at them. Some were shot and some escaped.
You know wild pigs, you see wild pigs, right? So they are very destructive and people want for the farmers and all that, they don't allow wild pigs because they destroy the plants, correct? So they were driving and this one just passing by. The narrator and this one, his friend was just passing by in Mysore.
We thought that everything was over when suddenly a black slot here came out panting in the hot sun.
So along with the pig, the bear also it was running, okay? And they thought okay that was the last of the pigs driven out from the field, but then suddenly a slot bear appeared in front of them. And panting, when you are panting is when
someone hurts.
No, when you're running a lot, remember you start panting, you're short of breath. So that is when you pant, right?
Now I will not shoot a slot bear unfortunately for the poor beast, one of my companions did not feel that way about it and promptly shot the bear on the spot.
Yeah, so now the thing is what the narrator wouldn't, without any reason, he would not wantonly, without any reason, right? Without any reason, he will not shoot any animal, right? But his friends were not like that. Every human being is not like that, right? As soon as this narrator's friend saw the bear, he shot. He took the gun out and he shot the bear.
As we watched the fallen animal, we were surprised to see that the black fur on its back moved and left the prostrate body. Then we saw it was a baby bear that had been riding on its mother's back when the sudden shot had killed her. The lethal creature ran around its prostrate parent, making a pitiful noise.
Yeah, so what it didn't realize is that the baby bear, they cling to the mother, and the mother was carrying the baby on her back, right? And then suddenly they saw this, like, this black fur. Black fur is the baby. This is the baby on its back, move and left its prostrate body. Prostrate is lying down. When you lie down on the body, like remember, even when you go to the temple, also you do like this. You lie down full on the ground and you. Right, so that is being prostrate. The word is prostrate. I think when you lie down completely on this one. Now the animal is short, right? The belly is short, so it went completely flat on the ground. The mother bear and this baby bear, it was on the back. It was on the back, so it separated. It moved and it came. Then they saw it was a baby bear. And that's the time they realized that it was a baby bear that had been riding on its mother's back, and the mother was carrying this baby bear when this friend shot
One way, no?
she died. And then
Schema.
schema.
Where come schema?
Bear ka schema. And then this little
Oh,
cub,
yeah.
but it is crying for his mother. Remember, it's like the little creature was round, it ran around the prostrate body. The mother is lying here and it is running around the mother's lying body and making a pitiful noise. It is crying. Pitiful noise is when it is making when it will make you sad. Pitiful is when sound will make you sad.
I ran up to it to attempt the capture. It's footed into the sugarcane field, following it with my companions. I was at last able to grab it by the scruff of its neck, while it snapped and tried to scratch me with its long hooked claws.
Yeah. So now the narrator was very, very concerned, right? Because the mother has died, who will take care of the baby? So he wanted to take care of the baby. So he ran, he ran behind the bear. The little baby bear was running around and he ran behind the bear in order to capture it, to catch it. Okay. It scooted and into the sugarcane. So means it ran away into the sugarcane field. Remember, they were in the sugarcane field. Sugarcane was there, to eat. So it ran away in the sugarcane field, following it with my companion. So his friends also accompanied the narrator. Okay, I was able to grab it by the scruff of its neck, here at the back of your neck, like this. Remember how the puppies, how the mother holds the puppies, dogs hold the puppies, they hold it by the scruff from the back of the neck, where there is a lot of skin from there. Now, what happens? How will the baby react? Because it's somebody is holding. No, it will try to scratch you. Okay, so it snapped and tried. Snap means it was opening its mouth and trying to bite the narrator. Okay, it snapped and tried to scratch me with its long hooked claws. And bears have that long, like these sharp claws they have, right?
Yeah.
They have these claws. So it wanted to scratch him with that. Okay.
We put it in one of the gunny bags we have brought, and when I got back to Bangalore, I duly presented it to my wife. She was delighted. She at once put a colored ribbon around its neck, and after discovering the cow was a boy, she christened it Bruno.
Okay. So what happens? Like gunny bags are your boras. You know what a bora, na? Where you grab rice, like in the sunflower rice, they put rice grains and all that, na? Coconuts in that gunny bags. So gunny bags are your boras. So in that jute bags, what we have. Okay. And he had this, he always carried this. So he put that baby bear in the gunny bag. Now it has a lot of holes, so the bear can breathe. Okay. And we had brought, and when I got back to Bangalore, now they stay in Bangalore. Okay, so when I got back to Bangalore, I duly presented it to my wife. Duly presented it, he gave it to his wife. Like, take, I brought a gift for you. Okay. She was delighted. She was very happy when she saw it. She at once put a colored ribbon around its neck. So she took a ribbon and she tied it around its neck. Okay. And she at once, and after discovering the cup was a boy, she christened him Bruno. Christened him Bruno. Christian means she kept his name Bruno.
Christian his name.
Christian मतलब नामकरण जो होता है, that is known as Christian. When you give a name of any species or any child, you call it Christian.
Bruno. Bruno soon took to drinking milk from a bottle. It was but a step further, and within a very few days, He started eating and drinking everything else, and he started, and everything is the right for he ate porridge made from any ingredients, vegetables, fruit, nuts, meat, curry, and rice, regardless of condiments and chilies, bread, eggs, chocolates, sweets, pudding, ice cream, etc., etc., etc. And
Yeah, because see, normally bears eat termites, right, from the wood. But this, or honey, or whatever they can find. But here, this bear was like a normal child. It started like, how a baby starts with drinking milk, and then later on, the mama starts making porridges, Cerelac and all that, those kind of things to feed. So this also child, this bear also learned to eat various things. Okay, and this is what he ate.
as for drink, milk, tea, coffee, lime juice, aerated water, buttermilk, beer, alcohol, olive, liquor, and in fact, anything liquid. It all went down with relish.
Relish means when you enjoy something, right? And he would enjoy everything. He never, it's not like we couldn't give him anything. Anything in the world they gave him to eat, he would eat it with enjoyment. Okay?
The beer became very.
Bear,
The,
not beer, bear.
the bear became very attached to our two
Alsatian. Alsatian dogs. Alsatian dogs are those huge black dogs, no? You have seen?
No, only
नहीं देखा Alsatian dog. I'm sorry.
Alsatian.
Alsatian. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the dog.
German Shepherd.
Yeah. These are known as Alsatian. Okay.
The bear became very attached to our two Alsatian dogs and to all the children of the tenants living in our bungalow. He was left quite free in his younger days and spent his time playing, running into the kitchen, and going to sleep in our beds.
So yeah, so the bear became very attached to our two Alsatian dogs and all the children of the tenants living in our building. Now, attached means he became very close. He loved spending time with these two Alsatian dogs as well as the tenants. Tenants are who are tenants?
Birds.
No. When you give your
Food.
when you give your property in rent,
Property.
on rent, that is known as tenants.
Property in the
On rent. Like for example, you have a house and you're not living in the house, so you give it for somebody else to live. They give you money, right? They pay you money every month, right? So that is known as tenants. That means the person who's living in your house, they are your tenants, and you are the landlord, like that. So in the narrator's house, there were tenants. Okay, in his house, he gave some rooms for rent. Okay, so these tenants had children. Okay, so this bear became quite attached to the two Alsatian dogs and the children of the tenants. Alright. He felt quite free in his younger days and spent his time playing. So he's small in size, right? So he could go anywhere and they allowed him to go anywhere because he was small in size. So they didn't have any restriction on him. This little bear would go in any room, anywhere, play with them, and they didn't have any problem with it. Because he said they were really still small. Okay. In playing, running into the kitchen and going to sleep on a bed. So even they allowed him to play, run into the kitchen. Now kitchen, your mother tells you not to go in the kitchen, but this bear was allowed to go to the kitchen, and he also was allowed to sleep on their beds. So the bear was sleeping between those narrator and his wife.
One day, an accident befell him. I put down poison, barium carbonate, to kill the rats and mice that had gone into my library. Bruno entered the library as he often did, and he ate some of the poison. Mrs. said into the extent that he could not stand on his feet, but he dragged himself on his thumbs to my wife, who warned me. I guessed what had happened. Off I rushed in the car to the vet's residence. A, a case of poisoning. Dame beer, barium carbonate, what to do?
Yeah, so what happened is, now befell it happened to him. Befell happened to him. Okay, so one day an accident happened or befell him. I put down some poison. Now what happened? This narrator, these rats and mice, you know what they destroy? They destroy books in the library. And like, you can't, you have to do something about it. You will not allow the rats and mice to destroy all your property, right? So this was happening. And so he wanted to kill the rats and mice that had got in his library. Bruno entered the library as he offered, and it was a habit of Bruno. Remember, he was free to go in any room. So he also entered in the library, which he always used to do. Okay, and he ate some of the poison. Now, what was the effect of the poison? Is his body became paralyzed. When you can't move your body, remember, paralysis is when you can't move your body. So paralysis set in to the extent that he could not stand on his feet. So he couldn't stand on his feet. Okay, then on the four legs, what he stands, he couldn't stand. And he dragged himself on the stump. Stump is the bottom. So, bottom. From his bottom, he dragged himself and went to his wife, narrator's wife, and the narrator's wife called him. Because remember, the narrator's wife and the bear were very close, right? So, anything, when something happens to you, you run to your mother. Correct? Because like some problem is there. So same way the bear ran to he couldn't run, he dragged himself to the wife. Okay. Then the wife called him. Okay. I guess what had happened. So he already guessed what has happened because she said it in the library. So he took this one, he took Bruno and he rushed to the vet's residence. Residence is his house, not the hospital. He ran to the house. Okay, and he quickly said, a case of poisoning, tape, barium carbonate, what to do. So he said, what to do? He's eaten poison, and that is a very this one. So, the vet.
Out came his medical books, and the February's reference to index began. What poison did you say, sir? Barium carbonate. Ah, yes, barium. Salts are barium carbonate. Symptoms: paralysis, treatment, injections of. Just a minute, sir. I will bring my syringe and the medicine.
So now, when he went, normally doctors always have their medical kits with them, even in the house. Yes. So when he came, when he came and he told him, this bear has eaten barium carbonate. So he took out his medical books. You know how the lawyers refer to the books always? Like that the doctors also refer to the books. And he referred to the books and he searched, what is the effect of, first he searched for the chemical. So, what poison did you say? Barium carbonate? Yes, argon. So, they have index in that. Like how we have dictionary to search for that. So, that's why he said barium. So, he found that barium salts. Okay. What are the effects of barium salts? That anybody who consumes it is paralyzed. Remember, Bruno was paralyzed. He couldn't move his hands and legs, right? Basically, all the four legs. Treatment, injections of, and then he's like, time with him now. So he says, what? I know. So injections also in that book, doctors have these medical books, right? In that it is written how do you treat that. So he said injections off. So he found that. He said, you wait a minute, sir. I'll go back and bring a syringe. Syringe, through which you give an injection. Syringe is that. Syringe.
And medicine.
Yeah, and then you have to put the medicine. You have in the syringe, you put the medicine and then you give it. Have you been to hospital any time? So you
admit
हुआ है ना, तो आपको वो जो प्लास्टिक की नहीं रहती है, वो syringe होता है. You see ना syringe, and they take that bottle of injection and they shake it and then they put the needle into the bottle of injection and they take the syringe and then they insert it like that.
A dash back to the car. Bruno still floundering about on his thumbs, but clearly weakening rapidly. Some vomiting, heavy breathing, with heaving flanks and gaping mouth.
So here what happened is he quickly ran to get Bruno. Bruno was in the car, remember that. And what was the symptoms? What was happening to Bruno? He was floundering, right? He's struggling to move. Okay, about on his stumps. On his stumps, we remember only his bottom is working. So he is trying to move, but clearly weakening rapidly. So he was becoming weak rapidly. And he was vomiting also. Okay. And then he's breathing heavily. Oh, like that. See, breathing heavily with heavy flanks. That means, like, the sides of our body. It is also moving up and down between the legs and this one. Okay. And gaping mouth. Gaping mouth means because it's trying to breathe heavy, right? That means gaping mouth is when your mouth is wide open. See?
Overleave everybody. In goes the hypodermic. Bruno squeals 10 cc of the antidote enters his system without a drop being wasted. 10 minutes later, condition unchanged. Another 10 cc injected. 10 minutes later, reading less than thorax. Bruno can move his arms and legs a little, although he cannot stand yet. 30 minutes later, Bruno gets up and has a great feed. He looks at us disdainfully, as much as to say, "What's barium carbonate, the big black bear like me?" Bruno is still eating.
So, like, what happens? Like, everybody has to hold the bear because they're very heavy, right? And the second thing, you have to hold them tightly because you don't know what it will do, right? In both the hypotomic. Hypotomic is a long syringe one, okay, long needles. Because that, like for the animals, normally they have this long needle, okay. And Bruno squeals. Squeals is shouts. Remember, you don't know, nobody likes injections, right? So he shouts 10 cc. So they gave him initially 10 cc, okay. Nahi, come here, 10 cc of the antidote. Antidote is to counteract the poison. Okay. Enters his system without a drop being wasted. That means the whole 10 cc, they pushed it into his body. Alright. And then 10 minutes later, condition unchanged. So after 10 minutes also, after putting the injection also, there was nothing, no difference in his body. Then they decided another 10 cc injection. In total, they gave him 20 cc. Okay. 10 minutes later, breathing less strenuous, stentorious, that means noisy breathing. Remember, he was panting like that. So it became less. Okay. Bruno can move his arms and legs a little, although he cannot stand it. So after 10 minutes, he could move his hands and legs, but he couldn't stand. His body was not stable. 30 minutes later, Bruno gets up and has a great feed. So yeah, he got up and they gave him a lot of food to eat. Okay, that's why a great feed. He looks at us disdainfully, like okay. So disdainfully is unworthy of consideration. Okay. As much as to say, what barium carbonate to the big bear like me. So, like, what can the barium carbonate do to a bear like me? That, okay, Bruno is still eating.
Another time we found nearly 1 gallon of old engine oil which I had drained from the sump of the Studebaker and was keeping as a weapon against the inroads of termites. He promptly drank the lot, but with no ill effects whatever.
So another time he found a gallon. I showed you just now what is a gallon. Remember the drum, that full drum. A coal engine toilet had drained from the sump of the uh, stud baker. Stud baker is it's a name of a car, American car. Okay, like we have Mercedes and like that. So that stud baker car was the name of the car. And was keeping it as a weapon. Now for termites, it is that oil, engine oil acts like a poison. Okay. So for the inroads means the roads, like it eats into the wood, right? It eats into inroads of termite. You know what is termite, right?
Animal.
Termite is an insect. What is it called?
Insect.
White ants. It eats the wood, ना बेटा. वो पूरा wood खा जाता है. आपने देखा है? दीमक. Termites are your दीमक का जो है. हाँ. He probably drank a lot but no. So this time also he was very curious. He drank up the full engine oil, but this engine oil didn't have any effect on him. Okay.
Yeah. The months rolled on, and Bruno had grown many times his size was when he came. He had equaled the Alsatians in height and had even outgrown them, but was just as sweet, just as mischievous, just as playful, and he was very fond of us all. Above all, he loved my life and she loved him too. She had changed his name from Bruno to Baba, a Hindustani word signifying small boy, and he could do a few tricks too. At the command Baba wrestle or Baba walks, he vigorously tackled anyone who came forward for a rough and tumble. Give him a stick and say Baba, hold gun, and he pointed the stick at you. Ask him Baba, where is baby? He immediately produced and cradled affectionately a stump of wood which he had carefully concealed in his straw bed. For because of the tenant's children, poor Bruno or Baba had to be kept chained most of the time.
Yeah. So now what happened is, like initially he was very small, right? He was a baby, he was a small baby. So the months rolled on, as months passed, Bruno had grown many times the size he was. हाँ, means size में बड़ा हो गया, बहुत बड़ा, like in the sense he became, he equal the Alsatian. Alsatians are tall dogs, German shepherds are very tall dogs. So, in height, and even had outgrown them. Outgrown means he became taller than them. Okay, but was just as so, but his behavior was like a child only. Okay, just as mischievous. Mischievous is naughty. Okay, just as playful. He would love to play with the wife and the narrator and all that. And he was very fond of us all. Means whoever is the narrator's family, he was very fond of them. Above all, he loved my wife. So above them, he loved his narrator's wife a lot. Okay, and she loved him a lot too. That's why I said the bond of love. Remember, her love for Bruno and Bruno's love for her was like unbreakable. Okay. She had changed his name from Bruno to a Baba. Baba, you say baby, Baba, you say, as this one. So on Hindustani name signifies small boy. And he could do few tricks. So she trained him to do few tricks. Now, what were the tricks? At the command, Baba wrestle or Baba box. So he would pretend to be boxing, or he would pretend to wrestle. You know what is wrestling? You wrestling. We have wrestling. Wrestling you have, no?
Wrestling.
Yeah. He rigorously tackled anyone who came forward for a rough and tackle. So rigorously means energetically. Very energetically he will come and tackle. Tackle means he will catch somebody and they will move forward and they will tumble. They will fall down. Give him a stick and say, Baba, hold gun. So she would say, she would give him a stick and say, Baba, hold gun. So he would shoot, he would hold the gun like this as if he's shooting you. Okay. He pointed at the stick at you. Ask him, Baba, where's baby? And where's baby? He will immediately produce and cradle affectionately a stump. You know, he would immediately get a stump. Stump is the cut wood. Remember the stump of the wood. So he would go and bring that stump and he would hold it like a baby. Okay, affectionately is lovingly, right? Which he had carefully concealed. This, like you know, if you remember as a baby, you had a favorite toy, or you must have had a favorite blanket, something as a baby, your mother must be doing. But so like that, he would hide this little stump in his straw bed. Okay. But because of the parents didn't, poor Bruno or Baba had to be changed most of the time. So now he's grown his size. So he they didn't want him to even playfully injure the children. So they had to normally chain him up and
Then my son and I advised my wife and friends advised them to give Baba to the zoo at Mysore. He was getting too big to keep at home. After some weeks of such advice, she at last consented. Hastily, and before she could change her mind, a letter was written to the curator of the zoo. Did you want a tame bear for his collection? He replied yes. The zoo sent the case from Mysore to Dolly, a distance of 87 miles, and Baba was back home.
yeah. So what happens is, so like he's grown up with double and triple the size, right? So the narrator and his son, okay, both they told the wife that, and her friends also told her that you please give Baba away to the zoo. Why? Because it will have a big place for Baba to live and all that. This is a small place. Okay, and send it back to Mysore. Yeah, he was getting now the reason they gave us, he was getting too big to be kept at home. So he was huge. They couldn't keep him at home, right? So after some weeks of such aggressiveness, she readily she didn't agree. But continuously they kept on telling her. So after some weeks, she at last consented. She gave her, like she said yes, consented when you say yes. Hastily and before she could change her mind. Hastily is quickly, before she could change her mind, a letter was written to the curator of the zoo, the person who's in charge of the zoo. Okay? Curator. So a letter was sent to him. So did he want a tame bear for his collection? Does he want a tame bear in the zoo? So he said yes. The zoo sent a cage from Mysore in a lorry. So he needs to transport Baba to the zoo. You require they send a cage and in a lorry. Okay, lorry is a truck. Okay, a distance of 87 miles. So the 87 kilometers distance was there from Bangalore to Mysore. Okay. And Baba was packed off. So Baba was put in the cage and he was sent off to the zoo.
We all missed him greatly, but in a sense we were relieved. My wife was inconsolable. She wept and fretted. For the first 2 days she would not eat a thing. Then she wrote a number of letters to the curator. How was Baba? Back came the replies. Well, but fretting he replaces food too.
So see, here's the narrator, see the condition of them, the separation, because they got separated, both Baba and this one got separated. So they all missed him greatly. They missed him a lot, greatly and a lot. But in a sense, we were relieved. Relieved means they were relaxed. Okay. But
worried.
No. Relieved is relaxed. But the narrator and his son and everybody were relaxed, but the wife was not. She was inconsolable. That means every time they tried to console her, no, it's okay, the bear is gone. She wasn't ready to listen to anybody. Okay, she was always crying. She wept is crying, and fretted. Fretted is worried. For the first few days, she would not eat a thing. So, like initially, when he went in the first few days, she did not eat any food. Then she wrote a number of letters to the curator. So she wanted to know how the bear is and whatnot. So she wrote a number of letters to the person who was looking after the zoo. Curator. How was back? Back came the reply. Well, but fretting. So that he was also okay, but he was fretting. He was also worried. and he refuses food too. So he also refused food. So both the separation for both of them was too much. Okay, they were like they refused to eat food and they were both worried for each other.
After that, friends visiting Mysore were begged to make a point of going to the zoo and seeing how Baba was getting along. They reported that he was at the zoo. Like he was well but looked very thin and sad. All the keepers at the zoo said he was fretting. For 3 months, I managed to restrain my wife from leaving Mysore. Then she said one day, I must see Baba. Either you take me by car, or I will go myself by bus or train. So I took her by car.
Yeah. So after that, friends visiting Mysore were begged to make a point of going to the zoo. So, like, whoever went to Mysore, the narrator's wife begged means he asked and pleaded that he should go and visit Baba in the zoo and see how Baba was getting along. Getting along means how he was surviving there, okay? How he was living there. They reported that he was well, he was okay, but looked very thin and sad. So, what was happening? They were got separated. Yeah, so he was becoming very thin because he's not eating food and he's very sad also. All the keepers at the zoo said he was fretting. Fretting is very unhappy, he's worried, he's unhappy, he's not relaxing. Okay, that. For 3 months, I managed to restrain myself. Restrain is to stop his wife. Okay. Stop his wife from visiting Mysore. So 3 months, whenever she got this news, she got more worried. Okay, she wanted to go and visit. But he told not now. He give him some time to adjust, not so soon. And nearly 3 months he was able to stop her. But after 3 months, one day she said, I must see Baba. She said, I have to see Baba. I am not listening. Either you take me or I will go by a bus or a train. So ultimately the narrator had to take her by car.
So I took her by car. Friends had conjectured that the bear would not recognize her. I had thought so too, but while she was yet some yards from his cage, Baba saw her and recognized her. He howled with happiness. She ran up to him, petted him to the bars, and he stood on his head into them.
Yeah. So as soon as friend had told her, they were just guessing. Conjecture is when they were just forming an opinion by guessing that the bear would not recognize her. Okay. I thought so too. Even the narrator thought, okay, 3 months have passed. But 3 months is a long time, right? He said, he said maybe the doctor bear will not recognize her. But while she was yet some yards from his cage, yet some yards with some distance from the cage, Baba saw her and recognized her. So as soon as Baba saw her, he recognized her. And he howled with happiness. Where he made a loud noise. Yeah, with happiness. She ran up to him, petted him, stroked him and hugged him and all that through the bars. And he stood on his head in delight. So he was so happy that he stood on his head.
Yes. For the next 3 hours, she would not leave that gate. She gave him tea, lemonade, cakes, ice cream, and what not. Then closing time came and we had to leave. My wife cried bitterly, Baba cried bitterly, one ardent brother and the creepers felt depressed. As for me, I had reconciled myself to what I knew was going to happen next.
So for the next 3 hours, she would not leave. She had given him tea, lemonade, cakes, ice cream, and whatnot. She had brought various things for him. Like a child, like a son. He was basically like a baby for her, right? A son. And she brought everything possible for him. Then, there is zoo has a closing time. Remember, you have a closing time. The closing time came, yeah. And we had to leave. So closing time, it was closing time. Everybody wanted to go home, and his wife refused to leave. Okay, and then she cried bitterly. She was crying very loudly and very sad. Baba also cried bitterly. So with full huge sobs, all that. even the hardened curator, the like no this person who's in charge of the zoo is like he knows how animals are and how humans are. So like he knew that, but his heart also became soft. Okay, and the keepers were depressed, felt depressed, being very very sad because separating the two broke their heart. Okay. As for me, I had reconciled myself to know that I knew what was going to happen. Reconciled means he gave up. He knew that what has to be done.
Huh.
Okay.
Oh, please, sir. She asked the curator, may I have my Baba back? Hesitantly, he answered, Madam, he belongs to the zoo and is government property now. I cannot give away government property. But if my boss, the superintendent Bangalore agrees, then you may have him back.
So she started begging him, begging the curator. So she said to the curator, please give me my Baba back. And hesitantly he answered because he knew that animals cannot be given back. Once they have come in, they cannot be given back. So he was very hesitant. Very hesitantly he said, Madam, he belongs to the zoo and is government property. So now he's a government property. The government property you cannot take back, right? I cannot give away government property. But if my boss, the superintendent at Bangalore, agrees, certainly, the superintendent at Bangalore, the superintendent was in Bangalore, right? The person who was over his head was in Bangalore. So he said, but if he agrees, then you may have it back.
There followed the return journey to Bangalore and a visit to the superintendent's bungalow. A tearful pleading. Baba and I are both fretting for each other. Will you please give him back to me? He was a kind-hearted man and consented. Not only that, but he wrote to the curator telling him to lend us a cage for transporting the Bangalore.
Yeah. So now here, so she knew that like she has to ask the superintendent. Okay. So when they came back to Bangalore, journey to Bangalore, and a visit to the superintendent's bungalow, so they went and directly met the superintendent. Okay. A tearful pleading. So she was in tears and she's asking him. Crying, yeah. So she said, Baba and I are both fretting a very unhappy, worried and all that. We feel for each other. So we are missing each other's company. We cannot be without each other. So she's pleading. And will you please give him back to me? So will you return him back to me? He was a kind-hearted. So this superintendent was very kind-hearted, okay? And consented. He said yes. Consented is when you say yes. Not only that, he wrote to the curator telling him to lend them a cage in order to transport Baba back. Yeah.
Back he went to Mysore again, armed with the superintendent's letters. Baba was driven into a small cage and was set on top of the car. The cage was tied securely, and a slow and careful return journey to Bangalore was accomplished.
Yeah. So now they went back to Mysore again, and this time they had the superintendent's letter where he has said yes, please give the bear back to the narrator and the wife, and also provide them a cage for transportation. Right? Now they had gone in the car. The driver had gone in the car, so the car doesn't have space to keep the cage. Correct. So they had to put the cage on top of the car. They have to tie the cage on top of the car. You see how we tie luggage on top of the car? Sometimes you see taxis doing it, right? So like that, they tie the cage on top of the car, and slowly and carefully they return back to Bangalore. Okay.
Once home, a squad of police were engaged for special work in a compound. An island was made for Baba. It was 20 feet long and 15 feet wide and was surrounded by a dry pit on both 6 feet wide and 7 feet deep. A wooden box that once housed fowls was brought and put on the island for Baba to sleep in at night. Straw was placed inside to keep him warm and his baby, the banal stump, along with his gun, the piece of bamboo, both of which have been sentimentally preserved since he had been sent away to the zoo or put back for him to play with.
Yeah. So now once he was back, a squad of police were engaged, these workers were engaged to make a special, an island for the bear. Okay. Now why? Because you can't allow him to enter the house or be near people, right? Because he had sharp claws. He's a full-grown bear. Even if he's not intending to hurt somebody, by mistake also even one claw, there'll be a deep cut and a person can be seriously injured. So they didn't want this that to happen. That's why. So let me complete this. Okay. So an island was made for Babas. That's why they made an island for Baba. You know what is an island, right? It's a land surrounded by water. Correct? So it's a land surrounded by water. So it was 20 feet long and 15 feet wide. So it was wide, 20 feet long means like a swimming pool, how big the swimming pool, and 15 feet wide. Wide means the width of it. Okay. And surrounded by dry pit. It was surrounded by dry pit means around this one there was no water or more. 6 feet wide and 7 feet deep. So it is also 6 wide and deep. Okay. A wooden box was housed with fowls are your chickens. Okay? So a wooden box which was where the chicken used to live was brought and put on the island for Baba to sleep at night. So for his bed they brought this big box and in that they put straw for him to sleep. Okay. Then what did the place on the straw was placed inside to keep it warm and the baby had a gnarled stump. Remember the stump which was like a baby of this one? Gnarled is rugged and twisted stump. Okay. And the piece of bamboo which he was using as a gun, remember? Both of which had sentimentally preserved since he had been sent to the mother. Like, the wife kept it very, very closely. Sentimentally, when you have a lot of attachment. Okay. Preserved since he had sent away to the zoo and were put back in him to play with. So they had put this thing back on the island for him to play with. 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Yeah. 17 minutes, I'll come by 22. Huh? It's 17, I'll come by 22.